Welcome back to the channel. You might remember from my video earlier on that I mentioned I was going to tell you a story about how a lawyer got out of paying a fine for going through the low emission zone without paying the charge. But I'm not going to tell you that story. To tell you that story, I'm going to welcome back our special guest, Mr. Alan Robertshaw. How are you doing this evening, Al?
Very, very well, and it's so nice to be back. Sorry, I've so missed you all, but real world work intruded. But we've managed to settle a few things now. So, yeah, we're back. And speaking of settling things, this is a story all about how a young barrister was attending an event in Bristol. It was actually an open house with the Bar Standards Board. So that's our regulator, and they like to sort of seek our views on things. And I had some queries for them, so I arranged to go up to Bristol to see them. As it happened, they cancelled the event, and unfortunately, the cancellation email was sent by an account that went into my junk mail. But I did have a very, very lovely time in Bristol. So yeah, the Bar Standards Board, our regulator, have these series of open houses where you can go along and just chat to them about sort of regulation generally. And I had a few queries stroke comments because, like Dan, I'm licensed to do the sort of litigation. And that does cause a bit of confusion in the courts, but that's by the by. So I attended this event. Unfortunately, it was cancelled. And the cancellation email was sent from an account that went straight to my junk mail. So the event was off as it happened. But I had a very nice time in Bristol. But Bristol's a lovely city, and it has one of these clean air zones now where you have to pay to drive particular vehicles into town. However, somebody didn't realise that. And lo and behold, came back after Christmas, and what with the postal strikes and Christmas mail, I went into my post box, and among lots of other documents, I found a letter saying, "Congratulations, yours £120 because you didn't pay this fee." Now, the letter itself, I did find a little bit confusing, even though I'm supposedly trained in reading legal documents, because one of the options it said within 28 days you must do one of the following, and then the first option was within 7 days you must pay the. Yeah, let's have a look at that. Let's see the letter. So yeah, what are my options now? And it says you have 28 days from the date of this letter. Now, as it happened, by the time I'd got this letter, the 28 days had gone anyway because we're in the back of beyond. We've had postal strikes, which I fully support. So I was out of time anyway. So I thought, what shall I do? Because I say the letter's a bit confusing. It says within 28 days, and the first option is do something within 7 days, which is perhaps a little bit ambiguous. Could have been expressed more clearly. Because if you sort of say to somebody, within 28 days, you must do something by tomorrow, what you really mean is you've got to do this tomorrow. But anyway, I went onto their little online portal, and it actually said, how much do you want to pay? I thought, well, I'll just try paying the £9 then. So I paid the £9 and, see what happens. Well, a bit later, I got another letter saying, thank you for the £9. However, you didn't pay it within the time. So now we want £180 off you. And I thought, oh, well, what do I do about this? Now, they gave an option, and they say correspondence. They say you can put through another poll, which is their parking portal. Now, I don't know how new this scheme is, but the parking portal didn't actually have any reference to the emissions scheme. So I clicked on other parking query, and it allows you to submit, comments up to 1,000 characters, although I just could not get that to work, presumably counting spaces or hidden characters or something. So, but you can upload one document. I tried uploading multiple, but it only allows you to upload one document. So, being the nerdy lawyer that I am, and I was putting a lot more effort into this than I do in half of my real cases, I drafted my submissions, which commented about, first of all, the actual, the portal doesn't work. But I threw everything in the kitchen sink at this, including, and it all went a bit Freeman on the land, because I'm saying, I did not consent to this, because I didn't even know about this scheme, much as I support it. Where are the signs? How do you know about this? How did people, how do you advertise this? What, have I engaged, have I contracted with you for this? Now, of course, this is slightly different from a private car park, because a council is a public body. So is it ignorance of the law is no excuse? Who knows? But anyway, I sort of put all this in about, look, I didn't know about this. Also, you posted this letter. There were postal strikes. It was Christmas. You only gave me a little bit of time. The letter's ambiguous. and I've already paid you the £9, which basically I thought was in full and final settlement. But I actually attached what we call a Part 36 offer, which is one of these where you say, I'm offering you this in full and final settlement. If we go to court and you don't beat this offer, you owe me all my costs. Although, obviously, this would just be a county court claim, so costs wouldn't be an issue anyway. But I said, no, but this is it. We've spoken about Part 36 offers before, so you can check out many of Dan's wonderful civil litigation videos to find out about this. And I said, you can accept this Part 36 offer by keeping the £9. However, if you're going to take this if you want to roll with this and you're taking this to court, I want my £9 back, and let's see what the courts do. And especially as you'd have to sue me in my local court. Because if the defendant's a person rather than a company, you have to sue them in their local court. And the current listing for these trials is 51 weeks from the date of issue. And I just threw all this at them, and lo and behold, the very lovely Bristol Council eventually. I'd like to think because of my fantastic legal argument and not just they're going, oh God, he's a nutter, let's just get rid of him. They sent me a lovely email saying, okay, we'll just keep the £9, forget about it. So that is a very sort of short story, but it just goes to show, I mean, these schemes are becoming more and more popular. I think people know all about London and the congestion charge and the low emission zone and the ultra low emission zone. I visited my mum before Christmas. Bradford has a scheme now. Although that only appears to apply to taxi drivers at the moment. But they are becoming more and more common. And I think this is going to be an issue.
Yeah, and indeed, and they're different around the country as well. As I did in my video earlier today, the charges might be different in one place than they are in another. So you might be all right in one place, but not somewhere else. So you really do need to check. I mean, there's one other thing I wanted to ask you as well. Is this page 1 out of 400? Did they really send you 400 pages, or is that an ambiguity?
I think that's an ambiguity. I think they meant 4. Because I only found 4 pages. I should have sort of said, I request further and better particulars. Where's the other 396 pages? So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting letter. I'm not disparaging the lovely people at Bristol Council, but I don't know who drafted this letter or who typed it out. I mean, it's perhaps not the world's best put together letter.
Yeah, there are some ambiguities. I mean, you have 28 days to do something within 7
days.
14
days.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, so it's just something out there. I mean, like I say, one thing, because for the London stuff, I've actually got the auto pay set up. So if I drive into London, because the boundary keeps changing and I've got no idea where it is, it just goes, as you're driving, it goes, ping, congratulations, you're now paying the ultra low emission zone, or ping, you're now paying the congestion zone. I couldn't find anything to for the Bristol one, although I would set up. There's a gap in the market there, perhaps, for people, in the same way that I have about 96 different apps on my phone for all the different car parks. Sort of Just Park and various other ones, and try to work out which scheme you're using. I think there is a gap in the market. Maybe there should be a universal thing you can sign up to, which is, look, if I drive into anywhere like this, just pay it. Just pay the £9 or the £3 or the £12.50 or whatever it is, because I think it's going to become more and more confusing. Being the big eco-friendly person that I am, I drive the world's most eco-friendly car because I drive an old Range Rover, and as they're usually off the road for about 40% of the time in the garage. I mean, how much more eco-friendly can they be? Half the time it's just sawned.
So yeah, that's a great little story about how it really is worth just trying these things, isn't it?
It is always worth banging these things in, because it's like with the parking in London. I seem to recall that I think the Parking Appeals Office allow about 60% of parking appeals. Now, that might be because it's a self-selecting group of people who genuinely have a case and to say, look, I can prove that I wasn't in breach, here's a photograph, here's whatever. But yeah, I do think it's always, I mean, not to just be vexatious or make trouble, but it's always worth just trying these things rather than just going, hang on a minute, I'll just take the hit. But it's becoming more and more confusing because, like I say, I had no idea that Bristol did this. I mean, it may be there are huge signs that I drove past. I was too busy trying to figure out where to park in Bristol.
Yeah. Well, parking in Bristol is a bit of a nightmare, isn't it, really?
But there you go. So it was just a little anecdote. I thought people might find it amusing. Just, we always say plumbers, taps, drip, and cobbler's children are always poorly shod, but lawyers are also equally useless at just reading road signs or working out what they're meant to do. What they're meant to do. But I suppose the one good thing is we can, when we do get something, we can sort of go, oh, at least we know how to draft a letter and just throw the kitchen sink at people. So I'm not suggesting that you do that. Like I say, I'm fully supportive of these sorts of schemes, and I'm sure Bristol Council are lovely people, and Bristol is a lovely city. If you ever get an opportunity to go there, I highly recommend it. Just make sure you pay the £9 before midnight.
Indeed. Well, there it is. So make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. And by the way, don't forget about our other channel, Art and Media Law, linked in the description below, because you'll be seeing a lot more of Al and me talking about trademarks, defamation, people insulting each other on Facebook. I've had at least a couple of conferences in the last week or so about people worried about upsetting each other and getting defamation claims and all that sort of stuff. So make sure you check that out in the description below as well. Make sure you smash the like button here. Make sure you subscribe. And from Al and me, thank you all for watching.
Thank you.